Hi friends! Today in math, we're going to do something that we haven't done yet before. We are going to be working with story problems. Now, story problems are just like they sound. It's a story with a math problem in it, okay? I have a story behind me here. We're going to read it together and I'll show you how to work through the problem and we'll practice using different strategies to solve it. Okay, here we go. I saw 5 frogs on a log. I saw 2 frogs in a tree. How many frogs did I see in all? Did you hear the numbers in that story? Okay, we talked about, let's see, what was the first thing? The first number. I saw 5 frogs. Okay, that's important. I saw 5 frogs. I'm going to underline that. 5 frogs. That is important. And I'm going to write it down here, the number 5. That's important, and I'll show you why later. Okay? All right. I saw 5 frogs on a log. Got that part. I saw 2 frogs in a tree. That's the second important part. I'm going to underline, like I did up here with 5 frogs, I'm going to underline 2 frogs because that is important. Okay? And I'm going to write the number 2 down here next to the 5. I'm going to leave a little space in the middle, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Okay. There's another part of this that is super important. We're going to go back up and we're going to read the whole thing again, and then we'll talk about the very last important thing that we need to figure out, the problem. I saw 5 frogs on a log. I saw 2 frogs in a tree. How many frogs did I see in all? Those words right there are super important. In all. In all. Those words in all tell us what to do with these 2 numbers. The words in all tell us that we must add. Okay? We must add those 2 numbers. Because when it says in all, that means all together. All of the frogs. Okay? So we have 5 frogs and we have 2 frogs, and we're going to put them together to find out how many frogs we had in all. Okay? All right. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can do this. Because now we have a number sentence, 5 plus 2. Now that we've looked at the story, we've read it several times, we've figured out what we need to do to figure out the answer to the question. So now we know we have 5 plus 2, and we need to figure out what that answer is. Okay? Now that we know what we need to do, we have to use our different strategies to figure out the answer. Now, there's different ways that you can do this. You can use the number line. You could use a 10 frame. We've talked about those, both of those before. You could use your fingers, or you could draw a picture. Okay, any of those things. I'm gonna do. I think maybe I'll do all of those things, just so everybody could see what it would look like to do those. Let's see. I think I'm going to draw a picture first. Now, I have 2 different colors of green. I'm going to use that to draw my picture. Now, I'm not going to draw a big fancy picture. I'm just going to do a quick sketch. I won't even say a sketch because I'm not going to draw an actual picture. I'm just going to make, let's say dots. I'll make dots. I'll make 2 different colors of green dots. All right. Let's start with the dark green for 5 frogs. That's the number that we have to show first. So I'm going to make 5 dark green dots just down here. And they don't have to be perfect. I'm just going to do it. See, I'm just doing it really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more is 5. And then I'm going to switch colors because I have shown the 5 frogs that were on the log. Now I'm going to switch to the light green and show the 2 frogs that were in the tree. See, super quick. Now to get the answer, to get what they equal, 5 plus 2 equals what number goes here, we would just count all the dots. Okay? And using the 10 frame is very similar to drawing a picture. You would, and if you don't have a 10 frame, you can always draw one. Remember that. But if you have a 10 frame, it's just a different way of organizing your drawing, because you can always use a pencil, a crayon, a paper, or if you have an actual 10 frame, you can use the 10 frame and pieces, little pieces of something like beans or pennies or something little that would fit in the box. Okay. I'm not going to do that because I have this sitting up, and if I put little pieces of something on this, it would just fall off. So I'm going to use the marker again. I'm going to fill in 5 with this color. And I'm not going to do it fancy. I'm just doing it real quick. See, I'm not even getting it all colored in. There's 3, 4, 5. Okay. And I'm going to switch colors because now I need to show the 2 frogs that were in the tree. 1, 2. Okay. And then to get the answer of 5 plus 2, I would just count how many of the 10 frame that I have colored in. Another way we could do is the number line. Okay. Now remember, when we did the number line, when we are going to add, we move that way on the number line. Okay, that's important. Don't forget that. If we're adding, we go that direction on the number line. We start with the 5. Now, you may think that I'm starting with the 5 because it's first, but really, I'm starting with the 5 because it's the bigger number. And that way, I only have to make 2 jumps. So I'm starting at the 5. And I'm making 2 jumps or 2 hops that way for adding. Okay? I lost my tape. Or starting at the 5, we're going to count the jumps. Count with me. 2 jumps and we'll stop. 1, 2, and then we stop. What number did we land on? 7. Yep. So that should mean that 5 plus 2 equals 7. Now we did it 2 other ways, so I'm going to check those 2 other ways and see if they match our answer we got with the number line. Okay, so remember when we put drawing the dots, then we count them all. We drew 5 here and 2 here. To get the answer, I'm going to count them all together. Okay, we know that this is 5, so I'm going to start there. 5, and then I'm going to count on 2 more. 5, 6, 7. Does it match? Our answer here matches this answer here, right? This was 7. All right, now let's check our 10 frame. If we did it correctly, our answer that we got here should be 7, because it should match what we got here and what we got with the number line. If it matches, we're good. There's 5, and then 6, 7. Sure did. It matches. Good job. So, remember when you're doing story problems to look for the numbers that are important and for the important words that tell you whether you're going to add or sometimes you're going to subtract. But if you are adding, you'll see something like In all, you know what? Sometimes you might, I'm going to write this on here too. Sometimes you might see all together. Both of those mean the same thing. The trick is to be thinking about what you are reading. Okay? In all means putting things together. All together means putting things together. Okay? So make sure that when you are working on a story problem that you are using your brain and thinking about what you're reading, what you're seeing, and what you're doing to figure out the answer. Okay? Good job.